Now our ABC News exclusive with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, their first TV interview.
What if the wildest man in rock, the same guy who once had to head off a bat on stage, now can't even walk to the kitchen without help? This is a story about fame or fortune. This is about what happens after the curtain falls. In an emotional and exclusive interview, Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne open up about the most challenging chapter of their lives. Once the face of heavy metal rebellion, Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness, now finds himself battling a relentless illness that has changed everything. But through it all, Sharon has remained a steadfast force, standing beside her husband with unwavering devotion. For more than 50 years, Ozzy Osbourne has been a towering figure in the world of rock. As the iconic lead singer of Black Sabbath and later as a solo artist, his wild stage antics, gravelly voice, and dark persona made him a legend. But behind the scenes, especially over the last few years, life has been anything but glamorous. Ozzy has endured a series of devastating health issues, including multiple surgeries and a life-altering diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. Once a dynamic performer who commanded massive crowds, Ozzy is now confined to a wheelchair, struggling to move and increasingly relying on those around him. Through this ordeal, Sharon has been more than just a supportive spouse. For over 4 decades, she has been Ozzy's manager, emotional rock caretaker, and advocate. She's helped him navigate fame, addiction, and now serious illness. Her commitment to him is total. She helps him dress, feeds him, comforts him during emotional lows, and ensures he gets the best medical care possible. Despite the heartache of watching the man she loves deteriorate, Sharon remains resilient and fiercely protective of Ozzy's dignity and legacy. Sharon and Ozzy's relationship began in 1970 when she was just 18 years old. Her father, Don Arden, was a music manager, and Sharon worked for him as a secretary. Ozzy at the time was fronting a young and controversial band called Black Sabbath. While others were wary of the band's dark aesthetic and Ozzy's unpredictable behavior, Sharon saw something unique in him. Still, their romantic journey didn't begin immediately. Ozzy was married with children, and it wasn't until nearly a decade later that fate brought them closer. In 1979, Ozzy's world collapsed when Black Sabbath fired him due to his erratic behavior and excessive substance abuse. Isolated and devastated, he spiraled into self-destruction, retreating to a hotel room where he drank heavily, convinced his career was over. Sharon, however, believed in him when no one else did. She showed up at his hotel, determined to resurrect his career and give him a second chance at greatness. This was not just the beginning of their love story. It was the start of a powerful professional partnership as well. With Sharon's guidance, Ozzy released his solo debut album in 1980, titled Blizzard of Oz. It included the now iconic hit Crazy Train, a song that defined a new era for Ozzy and confirmed that he was far from finished. Sharon took over managing his career, orchestrating tours, handling publicity, and turning Ozzy into a solo sensation. Her fierce business acumen was matched only by her dedication to him as a person. They married in 1982 and had 3 children, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. Even while raising a family, Sharon continued to manage Ozzy's growing career, becoming the glue that held everything together. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Ozzy was infamous for his wild behavior, including the notorious incident where he bit the head off a bat on stage, an act that would follow him for decades. Sharon always found a way to spin these outrageous moments into media gold, enhancing Ozzy's image as the ultimate rock rebel. She laughed off the chaos and turned it into a part of his legend. But behind the scenes, she was the one providing stability and direction. Their fame skyrocketed in 2002 when the Osbourne family starred in their own reality TV show, The Osbournes. Audiences were captivated by the mix of eccentric rock star energy and genuine family moments. Sharon, with her quick wit and heartfelt commentary, became the unexpected star of the show. But while the cameras captured laughs and family drama, Ozzy's body was already beginning to show signs of wear. In 2003, Ozzy suffered a near-fatal accident while riding an ATV on their property in England. He broke several bones, including his ribs and collarbone, and suffered severe spinal injuries. He underwent major surgery to implant metal rods in his back, which helped stabilize him but led to complications in later years. Despite the pain, Ozzy soldiered on with his career. By 2024, it was clear Ozzy could no longer tour. Sharon made the heartbreaking announcement that his body simply couldn't handle the rigors of live performance anymore. For a man who lived for the stage, this was a crushing realization. Music had been his entire life, and stepping away felt like the end of an era. But Sharon had one final dream, to give him a farewell concert worthy of his legacy. Determined to create a moment of closure for both Ozzy and his fans, Sharon began organizing a final Black Sabbath reunion concert. She reached out to guitarist Tony Iommi to see if he would be part of it. Initially hesitant, Tony agreed when he saw how much it meant to Ozzy. The concert was scheduled for July 5th, 2025, in Birmingham, England, the very city where Black Sabbath first rose to fame. Sharon has sacrificed nearly everything to take care of Ozzy. She sleeps little, runs on caffeine, and constantly worries about his declining health. Doctors have warned her that Ozzy is nearing the end. But this only strengthens her resolve to make his final concert a shining farewell. She wants fans to remember the powerful performer he once was, not the frail man bound to a wheelchair. The world has watched their love story unfold over decades, from wild fame to quiet battles behind closed doors. Sharon has saved Ozzy countless times. When he was kicked out of his band, when addiction took over after his accidents, and now during his illness. The upcoming concert will be her final gift to the man she has loved fiercely and completely. In a world where fame is fleeting and relationships in the spotlight often fall apart, the enduring bond between Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne stands as a remarkable testament to love, loyalty, and unrelenting devotion. For over 40 years, they faced every imaginable challenge, from substance abuse and professional upheaval to catastrophic injuries and degenerative disease. Yet, even now, in the darkest hours of Ozzy's life, Sharon continues to fight for him with everything she has. Their story is not only one of musical greatness, but also of human resilience and unshakable commitment. Ozzy Osbourne, born John Michael Osbourne, rose from the working-class streets of Birmingham, England, to become one of the most recognizable voices in rock history. As the frontman of Black Sabbath, he helped shape the heavy metal genre with his haunting vocals and dark theatricality. The band's music terrified some and thrilled others. With songs like Paranoid and War Pigs, Sabbath challenged the norms of radio-friendly rock and captured the angst of a generation. But behind the dark persona was a man plagued by insecurity, addiction, and emotional vulnerability. When Sharon first met Ozzy in 1970, he was still a young man with raw talent and a troubled soul. She saw beyond the stage presence and chaos. Working under her father, Don Arden, who managed Black Sabbath at the time, Sharon developed her own instincts about the music business and the people in it. Over the years, she watched Ozzy struggle with substance abuse and self-doubt. Even as his fame skyrocketed, their personal relationship didn't begin until later, but Sharon always kept an eye on him, sensing something special that the world hadn't quite understood yet. In 1979, everything changed. Ozzy's drug and alcohol use had gotten so out of control that his own bandmates, his closest collaborators, decided they could no longer work with him. He was fired from Black Sabbath, the band he had helped create. The dismissal was a devastating blow. Ozzy fell into a deep depression, isolating himself in a hotel room where he drank excessively and contemplated giving up music altogether. This could have been the tragic end to a promising career, but Sharon refused to let that happen. Against her father's wishes, she went to see Ozzy and told him that he still had more to give. She offered to manage him and promised that together, they could rebuild his career and go even further than he had with Black Sabbath. That moment marked the true beginning of their legendary partnership, romantic and professional. It was also the beginning of Sharon's lifelong mission to keep Ozzy from slipping into darkness. Together, they launched his solo career. In 1980, Blizzard of Oz hit the shelves, introducing fans to a new chapter in Ozzy's music journey. The album featured hits like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, and was a massive success. Sharon handled the business side, organizing tours, building his brand, and handling the press. She had an intuitive understanding of what made Ozzy unique and how to amplify it. More importantly, she gave him structure, belief, and purpose. They married in 1982, and their relationship only deepened as they started a family. Sharon gave birth to 3 children, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. While managing the often unpredictable world of heavy metal and raising a family, Sharon proved herself to be a powerhouse of both grit and grace. She kept Ozzy's career afloat through chaos, constantly defending him from critics, while privately dealing with the challenges of his addictions and emotional breakdowns. Her role was not just that of a manager or wife. She was the anchor keeping everything from drifting away. Ozzy's public image grew increasingly wild. The infamous bat-biting incident during a 1982 concert would follow him for the rest of his life. Sharon, rather than panic, leaned into the moment. She understood the value of myth-making in the music business. She took the strange, outrageous stories and turned them into part as legend. Fans loved it. They saw Ozzy as a true rock and roll rebel, and Sharon knew how to keep that image alive without letting it destroy him completely. But their relationship wasn't just built on theatrics or publicity stunts. There were many private battles the public never saw. Ozzy's struggles with addiction continued to haunt their marriage. There were relapses, fights, and moments of despair. Sharon, in a 2016 interview, admitted there were times she thought their relationship wouldn't survive. But every time things got hard, she chose to fight for him, not walk away. Her unwavering belief in Ozzy and in their bond carried them through even the worst periods. In 2002, their lives changed dramatically when MTV launched The Osbournes, a reality show chronicling their home life. Viewers were instantly hooked. The series portrayed them as chaotic, hilarious, and above all, deeply human. Sharon emerged as a fan favorite, witty, strong, and often the voice of reason amidst the madness. The show turned their family into global celebrities and gave fans a more intimate look at the man behind the myth. But even as the cameras rolled, real-life tragedies loomed. In 2003, Ozzy was involved in a horrific ATV accident that left him with broken ribs, a damaged collarbone, and severe spinal injuries. Sharon rushed to his side as he underwent emergency surgery. Metal rods were inserted into his back to support his spine, and he was left with chronic pain. Though he survived, the accident would mark the beginning of a long decline in his physical health. The real turning point came in 2019 when Ozzy fell home, dislodging the rods from his previous surgery. This caused unbearable nerve pain and triggered a rapid decline in mobility. That same year, Sharon publicly shared that Ozzy had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological condition with no cure. While she remained calm and hopeful in interviews, the diagnosis hit the family hard. Ozzy's tremors, fatigue, and memory problems became more severe. He was no longer able to move freely, let alone perform. Between 2019 and 2023, Ozzy endured 7 surgeries on his spine in an attempt to relieve his suffering and restore some function. Each operation came with hope, but the results were disappointing. He became weaker, eventually losing the ability to walk at all. Sharon took over as his full-time caregiver. She fed him, dressed him, comforted him during long nights of pain, and handled his medications and doctor visits. All the while, she continued to fight for his dignity. Sharon tried to remain strong, but the emotional toll was enormous. She couldn't sleep, she lost weight, and her stress levels soared. Still, she refused to let anyone else take over his care. She believed that after everything they had been through, this was her final act of love. Ozzy, in turn, often expressed guilt over the burden he felt he had become, but Sharon never saw it that way. She reminded him that he was still her husband, still her king, and that he was worth every effort. Even amid the pain, Ozzy found moments of creative joy. In 2022, he released Patient Number 9, an album featuring collaborations with rock icons like Jeff Beck. Sharon was immensely proud of him, knowing how difficult it was for him to even sit in the studio, let alone perform. But he did it because music was still the pulse of his life. By 2024, however, it became clear that Ozzy's touring days were over. Sharon made the announcement, citing his declining health. Fans were heartbroken, but most understood. Still, Sharon had one last dream: to give Ozzy a final performance, one last bow before the curtain fell. She reached out to Black Sabbath guitarist Tony Iommi and proposed a farewell concert in Birmingham. Initially hesitant due to Ozzy's fragile condition, Tony agreed after seeing the fire still burning in his old bandmate's eyes. Now scheduled for July 5th, 2025, the concert will take place at Villa Park in Birmingham. the city where it all began. Sharon is orchestrating every detail with precision and care. She's consulting doctors about how to manage Ozzy's condition during the show and is overseeing the creation of a custom throne-like chair, so he can perform while seated, both comfortable and regal. She wants fans to see Ozzy not as a sick man, but as the rock legend they've loved for decades. Their story is one of rock and roll, yes, but more than that, it is a story of what love looks like when it endures every trial. Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne have lived the highs of fame and the lows of despair. They've built a life that defied expectations, survived chaos, and now is reaching its final crescendo. Through it all, they've shown the world what it means to love someone unconditionally. And in July, as Ozzy sings his last notes on stage, Sharon will be there, fighting for him, believing in him, and loving him to the very end. If this moved you, share your thoughts below. What's your favorite Ozzy memory? Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because in our next episode, we're diving into the secret heartbreak behind another rock legend's rise and fall. For now, one thing's certain. The Prince of Darkness may be fading from the stage, but his legacy? That's eternal.